We are just 4 days out from the midterm elections, but former President Trump is already looking ahead to 2024. Donald Trump mentioned a possible run during a campaign rally in Iowa on Thursday. Some of his advisors say the announcement could be in the coming weeks. We know the results of the midterm races could impact Trump's strategy. It remains a tight race in a number of key states, but in the race for Senate in Pennsylvania, the Democratic candidate John Fetterman got a celebrity boost.
I said it was up to the citizens of Pennsylvania, and of course, but I will tell you all this, if I lived in Pennsylvania, I would have already cast my vote for John Fetterman for many reasons.
CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns is following the race from Philadelphia. Caitlin, it's great to see you. Several recent polls, including a Marist College survey out Friday, have the Democrats leading in both the Pennsylvania gubernatorial and Senate races. So bring us up to speed on where they stand right now.
Hey, Weijia. Well, we are really at the center of the political universe here in Pennsylvania. You mentioned that Senate race that is very, very close, according to our estimates, and you can feel that on the ground here. And another sign that it's very close and really matters with everything at stake, you're having President Biden, former President Obama, former President Trump, all descending on Pennsylvania here to campaign for their respective candidates. Trump leading the charge to drive out turnout for Dr. Oz and for Mastriano, who's running for governor, who is behind Josh Shapiro in the polls. And Biden and Obama really trying to rally support for John Fetterman, the Senate candidate, and Josh Shapiro, the gubernatorial candidate who is leading here. So if there was any better sign that Pennsylvania is kind of where it's all happening, that really shows how much is at stake and how this state could determine the balance of power in the Senate.
Yes, it is a very, very close race there that everyone is watching closely. John Fetterman, of course, the Democrat, picked up a huge endorsement today. Oprah gave him her support, which surprised some people because, of course, she helped launch the career of Fetterman's opponent, Dr. Mehmet Oz, on her talk show in the early 2000s. Yeah. How significant is this endorsement to voters in Pennsylvania?
Well, the Fetterman campaign thinks it's very significant because of those reasons that you just described. I don't know about you, Weijia, but I remember growing up watching Oprah and watching Dr. Oz on Oprah all the time. And that is really what launched him to national fame. And of course, he had his own talk show after that. And he is running, you know, he's a celebrity candidate, but he is trying to talk to voters here and make that connection, even though he's not from Pennsylvania. And so he's trying to put celebrity aside to focus on some of these issues. And the Fetterman campaign believes that this endorsement from Oprah is something that could help. I mean, right now, the candidates and all the campaigns have really made their case. Voters pretty much know where each candidate stands on these major issues. The key now is to really turn out those low propensity voters, those voters who may not be encouraged by a lot. And so having this kind of endorsement from Oprah, who really gave Oz its fame, is something that the Fetterman campaign can try to kind of rub in Oz's face, but also to try to encourage people to come out and vote. So we'll see if it has an effect, but the Fetterman campaign certainly hopes it does.
Well, Dr. Oz knows better than anyone, maybe, that Oprah can make or break someone, so it will be interesting to see if she has an effect. Yeah. So earlier this week, Pennsylvania's highest court ruled that mail-in ballots with incorrect dates will be saved but not counted. How concerned are Pennsylvania election officials about that?
Well, election officials estimate that this could potentially affect thousands of ballots. And election experts that we've spoken to over the past couple of days say that this is something to really pay attention to because these races in Pennsylvania, particularly that Senate race, could be so close. And the focus in terms of vote counting will really be on here in Philadelphia. I was kind of having flashbacks driving into the city from 2020, where I was here for a week as they were counting mail ballots. And there's all sorts of scrutiny that comes on Philadelphia. It's a good opportunity, though, to remind our viewers that, really pay attention to how you are filling out your ballot. The date mark is really important. And also a good reminder that it's going to take a while to count ballots here in Pennsylvania, because there is a law in the books that you can't start opening up mail ballots to start processing them until Election Day. And that's why it took a while in 2020. And in a really close race, you really got to wait to count all the votes before you can make any sort of projection. So just because it takes a while doesn't mean that there's anything nefarious going on. It's because of that rule. And Republicans, quite frankly, had the opportunity to change that law, and they didn't. And so that's just something to keep an eye on here. But election officials think that that ruling could have an impact on lots of people's ballots.
That is a good reminder that Election Day could easily spill into election days, and that we might not have an answer in Pennsylvania and in other states on Tuesday. Finally, Caitlin, both President Biden and former President Obama, as you mentioned earlier, will join Democrats John Fetterman and Josh Shapiro at a campaign event in Philadelphia on Saturday, and you will be right there in the middle of it all. How are voters feeling ahead of this event? As you mentioned, it seems like people have probably made up their minds, but do you think it could drum up the enthusiasm to get them out the door on Tuesday to the polls?
Yeah, I'm really curious about young voters in particular. When I say young voters, I'm talking about 30 and under, because we've seen in our polling that this is a group, it's a very diverse group, but they don't show up in the numbers that they could typically. And if they show up in higher numbers than they say they're going to, that could actually make a difference in the House, and then, of course, certainly here in the Senate. So I'm paying attention to those kinds of voters who are kind of, wondering whether they should turn out. And also for Democrats, there's a lot of, as you know from covering this, that Democrats just don't really feel great about where things are in terms of all the headwinds that they're facing in this election. So having Obama out on the trail for them, who's still very popular in the party, even though Biden has as low approval ratings overall, they're hoping that at least kind of gives Democrats a reminder of something to kind of get excited about. But earlier today, we were speaking to suburban voters about voting, and they pretty much had made up their minds, although one we talked to was an independent and still trying to figure it out and might figure it out on Election Day. So the mentality from these campaigns is kind of just do everything you can to make sure you get that every last vote, because here in Pennsylvania, it could really just be that close.
All right, Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you so much for all your reporting.